Welcome to Off the Page, the show where we talk with Colorado authors to get the story behind the story. I'm Stacy McKenzie, a librarian here at Mamie Doud Eisenhower Public Library in Broomfield. And today we have two marvelous authors. We're talking about the doggies today. Later on in the show, I'm going to have Jennifer Kachnic. But first, I'm so happy to have Marianne McKiernan here with me. Hi, Marianne.
Hi.
Marianne, let's start with your history with raising service dogs. How'd you get started?
Well, it's something I'd always wanted to do. I'd seen people training service dogs, and it just seemed like something fun to do. And we were at a point in our lives where my husband said, you know, maybe we should look into that. So 2001 in the fall, we got our first service dog puppy, and life has not been the same since.
What types of things change when you get a service dog?
It becomes an attachment to your hand. So if you walk around without the puppy, you feel like you're missing something, like a part of you is gone. I've made so many new friends because of it. Perfect strangers come up and thank me for what I do. I've made so many friends within the organization, graduates that have the dogs. So it's been so much bigger than I expected.
And how many dogs have you trained up?
Jeb is number 9.
Oh my gosh. And we're going to talk with Jeb in just a little bit. He's being such a good boy. Now, your book writes from the perspective of the service dogs. What made you decide to write it from that perspective?
Well, there are a lot of blogs out there by puppy raisers of service dogs and of graduates of service dogs. And I work at Channel 7, and we were looking for ways to drive people to our website. So I just thought it might be sort of fun to have it from the dog's perspective. And it got such a good response, and then it was actually more fun to write from their perspective than from mine. So it grew.
And you have several dogs in your book. Tell me about one of the dogs and what they have to say.
Well, it started with Hudson. He was our 4th puppy, and he was our Zen dog. He was the one that was very grounded, and we just knew he was going to graduate. And then we got Parker, who was all about having fun. And we had hopes for Parker, but he did not actually graduate.
Oh, so sometimes service dogs don't graduate.
Correct. About 35% do graduate, and about 65% do not.
Oh, wow.
It's very specific for the skill sets, for health and temperament, and the dog wants to work. And one of the things that I love about canine companions is that they choose dogs who really want to work. These are dogs that think that is the best thing in the world to do. So when you see one of these dogs actually working, you know that they are having a good time and they're doing what they really want to do.
That's fabulous. What happens to the doggies that don't graduate?
Well, the puppy raisers always get the first call, so we can adopt them back if we want. If you live with someone like I do, who believes that we are not collecting service dog puppies, then we have good friends who have adopted them, and of course Canine Companions has a huge list of people that want to adopt them.
And someone could add their names to that list by going to their website?
I think actually it's a closed list right now because there's so many people on it.
Okay.
So my husband is fond of saying that if you want to get a release dog, the best way is to raise a puppy because you have a 7 in 10 chance that the puppy won't make it.
That's a good deal.
Then you get it back.
That's a bargain, isn't it?
And if it graduates, then you've changed someone's life, so it's all good.
Well, let's meet one of these puppies here. We have Jeb with us today. Hi, Jeb. Tell us about Jeb.
Jeb is 7 months old, and we get the puppies when they're 8 weeks. So we got him in October, and we start right away with teaching them commands and, you know, the obvious things like potty training and not chewing on things. And he is at the point now where he's going out more in public, so he goes to work with me every day, and we make trips to the grocery store, and we went to a movie the other day, so we kind of work up to things.
What commands does Jeb know so far?
He knows sit, down, stay, car, off, shake.
Oh.
So that's about it.
When you're raising the dogs, do you, how do you know who they're going to be placed with, or do they have specialties that you train them with?
Our organization, Canine Companions, trains 4 different types of dogs. We do service dogs that work with someone with a handicap other than blindness. It's often someone in a wheelchair who needs help opening doors, turning on lights, picking things up off the ground, getting the soda out of the fridge. And then we have skilled companions that are placed with someone who can't manage the dog on their own, so often a child. And there's a second person that's actually the facilitator, but the dog is working for the child or the handicapped person. And then we also do hearing dogs that work with someone who has, is hard of hearing. And then we do facility dogs, and those are dogs that are placed with someone who is able-bodied and uses the dog in their work. So a teacher maybe with special ed kids, or occupational therapist, physical therapist. A lot of dogs now in courtrooms and working with police officers. There's one in Aurora that works with a police officer in the Crimes Against Children unit.
Oh, wow. You mentioned a couple types of disabilities that service dogs help with. What are some more?
We have some that help with emotional disabilities, PTSD, epilepsy, diabetes, things like that. It's not chores that our dogs are trained to help with, but other organizations.
What is the certification process for the dog?
Within our organization, it's the dogs that really want to work and the ones that pass health and temperament tests and show an aptitude for something. I like to say that we don't know what their major is till they go off to CCI college, because there are those 4 specialties. And the trainers there, the professional trainers, are magical, and they are so good at knowing what a dog's skill sets are and which one of those jobs they will be best at. A dog can be released for any reason at any time. So I've had some that get all the way to the end when they're ready to match them up with a person and then get released because they're stressed or because they've suddenly decided they don't really want to work.
So how long will Jeb be with you before he maybe goes on to college?
We keep him about 1.5 years. So he is scheduled to go to college in May of 2014. So they're about 1.5 years or 18 months when they go off to college.
So you've got him for 1.5 years and then you have to give him up.
We give them back. It's kind of like a foreign exchange student. He's just with us for a little while.
How do you deal with that? It seems like you'd get so attached.
You do, and I like to say that you're not a good puppy raiser if you don't get attached. Of course you get attached. We love these dogs. My joke is that we give them away with a really big box of Kleenex in the morning and a really big margarita in the afternoon.
It's good.
But we've met so many of the graduates, and we've heard so many stories about how these dogs have changed their lives, and they get their independence back. We hear stories about kids who maybe have had a speech problem and now they're talking because they want to tell people about their dog or they want to give the dog commands. So how can you not give them back when you hear those kinds of stories?
They're really changing people's lives.
Absolutely.
Can my household pet become a service dog?
Probably not, but it could become a therapy dog. Okay. And that's where you can take your dog maybe to Children's Hospital once a week, or some of the library programs have read to Rover, so the kids come in and read to the dogs. So therapy work is much less stressful for dogs. It's usually maybe once a week or a couple times a month for maybe an hour at a time, versus a working dog that may be working 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 24 hours a day if it's a hearing dog.
And where would somebody start that process?
DeltaSociety.org is a good place to start.
Okay, great. Marianne, sometimes we see someone with a dog that we're wondering if they're really a service dog or not. When you see someone with a poodle or any kind of dog and they insist it's an emotional therapy dog, how do you know if they're telling the truth or not and it's not just them bringing their dog in?
Well, you don't. And according to ADA, you cannot ask what the person's disability is, but you can ask what the dog has been trained to do for the person. You have to remember that it's the person that has the access, not the dog. So, you know, if I'm blind, I have access with my guide dog because of my disability, not because the dog has been specially trained.
If someone would like to connect with you online and talk to you about service dogs or find out more about maybe Jeb or something, how can they do that?
Jeb has a weekly blog on thedenverchannel.com. It's under the lifestyle section under pets, and they can connect with me through there. We also have a fan page on Facebook for the book. It's called Let the Dogs Speak, CCI.
Great. Tell me a little bit more about CCI.
They are the oldest service dog organization in the country. They've been in business for about 38 years now, and they're the ones who really started using dogs for things other than as guide dogs. And we have it's a national organization. We have 5 regional offices, so when the dogs go back to their advanced training, they go to one of those 5 regional offices, and ours is in Oceanside, California.
How's Jeb doing? Is he going to graduate?
We never know. We never know. I've had dogs that I've thought, oh, that one's never going to graduate, and they do. I've had dogs that I think, this one's perfect, and they get all the way into team training. I had one that actually went through team training, and they started barking at the people in the wheelchairs. So he was clearly telling the trainers, oh no, I don't really want to do this for a living.
Yeah.
So you never know.
You just never know.
You never know. So we have our hopes up. We always do. We've got one at professional training now named Rocket. And so we've had several report cards. He's doing really well, knock on wood. So
That's
we're hoping
nice
that he will graduate in May.
That's wonderful. You get to hear about them after they leave you.
Yes, we
That
get a
means
monthly
lot.
report card.
Wonderful. Is there going to be a sequel? Are we going to have Let the Dog Speak too?
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll see. I've got more blogs.
It's very exciting. It's a wonderful, fun book. The topic is wonderful, and you just seem so knowledgeable and a great person to be able to do this for other people.
Thank you.
And the
oh, I get
dogs.
way more out of it than I put into it, honestly.
Oh, that's marvelous. Thank you so much for sharing the book with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Join us after the break when we'll be talking with Jennifer Kachnic about her book.
Stronger, healthier babies. It's what the March of Dimes is all about. Learn more about healthy babies at marchofdimesbaby.org.
Welcome back to Off the Page. I'm so happy to have Jennifer Kachnic with me with her book, Your Dog's Golden Years. We're going to talk about our senior puppies. But first I want to ask you about your company, Canine Wellness. Tell me about that.
Canine Wellness, I provide more natural, holistic type therapies for dogs, alternative. So laser therapy, massage therapy, energy healing. I do a little training as well. And I mostly work with older dogs, senior dogs that have arthritis and joint issues. And it's in conjunction with traditional therapies with a vet.
And your book has a lot of resources in it, I'm guessing. Tell me about what your book actually provides for a reader.
Yeah, well, I discovered with my clients that there was just such a need for information on senior dog care and the alternative and options in regards for therapies for them, potentially. And most veterinarians aren't well versed on them. So I thought I got to put something together for people to get this basic information so that they can make the right decisions for their dog and how to properly care for them before they become seniors as well. So the book actually has 20 authors and experts from around the country in canine care wrote chapters on their expertise, general dog care, dental care, as well as some holistic and alternative therapies that are available for dogs. And then the end-of-life issues. There's not a lot of resources for people, you know, when that time comes, how do you make the decision and what are our options? And so put the book together so that everything's in there.
It's a great resource.
Yeah,
very,
lots,
very
and
needed.
each chapter has resources, the author's favorite resources on that topic for people to get more information.
Before a dog becomes a senior dog, what are some ways that we can ensure his golden years are going to be the best?
Yeah, the number one thing you can do for your dogs as far as their health is take care of their teeth. When the teeth start going bad, it affects the whole body. The toxins can affect all the organs. So number one is take care of their teeth. Two is, you know, keeping their weight down and under control. And as they get older, you know, possibly changing their food, their diets. Supplements are great, especially for large breed dogs in regards to the hips, you know, joint supplements, glucosamine, MSM, that sort of thing. Fish oil is really good for not only arthritis, but also the coat, the skin, and the organs as well. Coconut oil is actually good. Yeah, Claude gets a spoon of coconut oil in his food, and that really helps with his coat.
And so all of these things, when they're younger, once they do get older, what are some major concerns for older dogs?
Well, again, larger breeds often get the osteoarthritis, the joint issues, that kind of thing. So being a little proactive, again, with the supplements, exercise, and looking for signs of pain, because, you know, dogs have been domesticated for thousands of years, but they still have that instinct from their wild days to not show weakness. And showing pain is showing weakness. So a dog's not going to really show you they're in pain until it's pretty significant normally. So when you start, people need to be aware of what are the signs of pain that they can look for so they can kind of be proactive and get their dog you know, checked out and find out what's going on and getting some pain relief.
Now, you are actually the president and work very closely with the Gray Muzzle organization. Tell us about that.
I'm the president of the Gray Muzzle Organization. We're a national organization, and we provide grants. So we provide money to animal shelters, rescues, sanctuaries around the country that provide senior dog programs. So programs to help senior dogs get adopted, medical care, hospice care, long-term foster. We support the Senior for Seniors programs, which matches senior citizens with senior dogs. And you know, we always have new programs coming up, but we're trying to get more shelters and rescues all around the country to start focusing on programs and educating them, giving them again the resources as well to start these programs to better get senior dogs adopted.
What are some of the advantages of adopting a senior dog?
Well, they're trained and they're usually not as energetic. And not all senior dogs have medical issues too, significant. They're, like I said, they may not have as much energy, but they need to get exercise, so they're great. They kind of get you out walking, hopefully. They're great companions, you know, again, a little calmer and a much better fit for some people versus a puppy, which can be a lot of work. But yeah, there's a lot of great senior dogs out there that are given up, not for behavioral problems or anything, but just because of lifestyle. The
Senior for Senior program just sounds wonderful to me.
Yeah.
Are there any stories you know that have come out of that program?
Oh, you know, the shelters make a point of matching the right senior dog with the right senior person. So depending on them circumstances. But yeah, seniors, there's a very high suicide rate for senior citizens. It's actually higher than any other age group, and it's growing. And a lot of it has to do with just no companionship and loneliness and nobody to care for and to care for them. And so it can really help their quality of life, you know, the dog and the person.
What are some considerations for adopting a senior dog? Is there anything that might be different than maybe adopting a puppy?
Well, like I said, they don't all have significant medical issues. And like us, you know, growing older, there's things, people need to be aware of certain symptoms and things to look for. But yeah, like I said, they can be a great option. There's just a lot of benefits to adopting a senior. And some people don't want a dog for 15 or 20 years. You know, so that's something to think of as well, if you just want a dog for the next 3 to 5 years, that kind of thing.
If someone is really interested in helping out the Gray Muzzle organization, but maybe they can't take a dog right now, what's some things that they can do for the organization?
Well, obviously donations, because that's how we work. We give grants, we give funds to these organizations, but also, you know, becoming an ambassador, a volunteer, helping with our fundraisers. We have a program where you can donate vehicles, and Gray Muzzle gets 70% of the value of that vehicle. And we also have a wine fundraiser going on right now. So there's lots of ways besides, you know, donating money to help us. And we're a virtual organization, so you can help us anywhere in the country.
And what's that website?
It's graymuzzle.org.
Okay, so people can find it really easily online.
And there's lots of resources on our website as well for anyone with a senior dog to get information.
Now, you talked about massage therapy for dogs. How does that help a dog?
Yeah, therapeutic massage for dogs. It works the same way, similar on their bodies as ours. So it can help with circulation. It can help get the lymph going. It can help, you know, with their stress and anxiety, you know, removing toxins from the body. And for a senior dog, it can help with atrophy of the muscles because they start slowing down, and if they're in pain, they might, you know, start not using the back end as much. So it can really help with helping those muscles not to atrophy and to keep them healthy and to help with range of motion. But very similar to the therapeutic massage.
Do dogs like massage?
They do.
They do?
Well, at first they're a little uneasy about being touched in that way. But like Claude, he passes out within 30 seconds.
Well, I was going to say, it looks like Claude has just had a massage, and he's very relaxed.
Massage.
Let's talk about Claude here. You brought Claude with us. How old is Claude?
Claude is 8, and so he's just now starting his senior years.
Okay, so Claude is 8 years old, and that is a senior. Is that about the age that they start their senior years, is 8 years old?
It depends on the size of the dog. So a smaller dog like a Chihuahua is going to have a much longer lifespan than a St. Bernard. So a Chihuahua, for instance, could live to be into the late teens, whereas a Saint Bernard, their lifespan is usually maybe 8 or 9 years. So they're considered a senior the last 25% of their typical lifespan. Okay. So it depends on the weight of the dog.
And are there signs that we should say, oh, they're entering their senior years besides just the number?
You know, some dogs start getting gray and in the face, getting a gray muzzle. Some don't, though. But yeah, I mean, as they start getting older, they have some of the same issues we do. The sense of smell, sense of taste, you know, those senses can start slowly deteriorating. And then again, we just have to keep an eye on looking for signs of pain, of issues going on with the body, so that we can get in there early and, you know, try to help the dog out before it gets too severe.
Sure. And Claude has a little graying. He's a little distinguished around the muzzle, so he's getting up there at 8 years old. Does he have any issues that you keep an eye on?
He's been on supplements because he's a large breed. He's more than likely to, at some point, depending on how long he lives, get the joint, osteoarthritis, that sort of thing. Goldens are also seem to be more prone to cancers for some reason. I mean, certain breeds have certain diseases they're more prone to, but so he's on supplements for joints, and also my holistic vet told me that buffered aspirin a day actually helps to slow down the progression in arthritis. Okay. But no ibuprofen, no Tylenol, nothing like that. Never give that to a dog, just buffered aspirin. Okay. Which can help with pain, and like I said, and slow down the progression.
Oh, wonderful to know. Mm-hmm. Where did you get Claude?
Claude was originally training to be a canine companion for Independence Dog.
Okay, I thought there was a connection there.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for many years as well, and he was released due to anxiety. He was not happy there. He would not eat, and you know, so they did release him, and then I kept him.
So it's a happy story though, because he's didn't graduate, or he didn't end up with someone, but he's happy now as a pet.
Yes, yeah. He helps me with other CCI puppies that we train.
Well, that's a happy story, because it's so hard to think about letting them go. It's so hard to think about when they don't get the work, but he looks absolutely peaceful.
Well, they're not cut out to be service dogs.
That's right. They have their professions just like we do, don't they?
Yeah.
Jennifer, when we talk about home remedies for dogs or natural remedies, that can be a concern for people and even for vets. What are some things people should know about those?
Yeah, I think people should know there's lots of holistic and natural and complementary therapies out there that are not evasive and don't have the side effects of traditional medicine. And so I think people should, I mean, that's why I did the book. There's a lot of information in the book about that, but, you know, get educated on these therapies, and of course talk with your vet, but know that, you know, majority of vets aren't well versed on these therapies either. And so it's really up to the owner to research these options. And again, a lot of them work in conjunction with traditional medicine. I don't think, you know, not in lieu of. And it all depends on the dog's medical situation. But there's lots of options out there that are not expensive. A lot of people are doing acupuncture now, which wonderful things for pain. Again, it works very similar in their body as ours. And it's been, there's vets that specialize in the acupuncture and so forth that can do wonders for a dog.
I feel like vets are kind of coming around to opening their mind and maybe having some more holistic approaches to things maybe than they used to.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, people need to ask, you know, their vets too. Because, you know, for me, I want options. Mm-hmm. And cost is something we have to think about when it comes to vet care. And traditional medicine can be, you know, quite expensive. And maybe that is the best route. But sometimes there's things you can do, like I said, in lieu of or in conjunction with traditional medicine. But there's just lots of options out there.
Jennifer, if someone is interested in maybe adopting or even fostering a senior dog, how can they get involved?
There's lots of breed rescues available in Colorado, you know, Golden Retriever Rescue, St. Bernard Rescue. So you can contact those rescues. They have lots of senior dogs available, but also the local shelters and rescues around here all have senior dogs. And in speaking with them, they're really adopting a lot more seniors. A lot of people are coming in and asking specifically for a senior. Mm-hmm. So again, if that meets your criteria where you don't want a dog for 15 years, and like I said, they don't all have medical issues, they're a little calmer, they're trained, a little less stress, but there's lots of seniors available in the shelters, and they don't always get adopted as fast as the younger dogs.
Well, I appreciate you so much for coming and talking to us about senior dogs. Claude, thank you so much for coming here and representing your group there. And I hope people visit the website of Gray Organization and get involved in their own way.
Yeah, thank you. We'd appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the authors that I had on today's show. Earlier we talked with Marianne McKiernan with her book, Let the Dog Speak, and also want to thank Jennifer Kachnic with her book, Your Dog's Golden Years. I also want to give a special thank you to Jeb and Claude, and join us next time for more on Off the Page.